Good day everyone, here's our math challenge for today. And here's our question. If a squared plus b squared equals 1 and c squared plus d squared equals 2, then what is the value of ac plus bd quantity squared plus ad minus bc quantity squared? Now here's our choices. Letter A is 1/2, letter B is 4/9, letter C is 1, and letter D 2. Now, if you want to try this problem, just pause this video. We have 20 seconds and timer starts now. Time's up. Now, let's answer this question together. Now, our goal is to evaluate this expression, AC plus BD quantity squared plus AD minus BC quantity squared. Given the following equations, A squared plus B squared equals 1 and C squared plus D squared equals 2. Now, how are we going to answer this question? Now, first thing to do is to play around with this expression. So, what will happen if we expand this expression, AC plus BD quantity squared? To expand this, we will use this identity. If we have x plus y quantity squared, that is equivalent to x squared plus 2xy plus y squared. Therefore, this expression can be written as AC quantity squared plus 2 times AC times BD plus BD quantity squared. Now, AC quantity squared can be written as A squared times C squared. And 2 times AC times BD can be written as 2 times A times B times C times D. And this BD quantity squared is just B squared times D squared. Now at this point, let's focus on the other expression. Now let's expand also this expression. Let's use this identity. If we have x minus y quantity squared, this is equivalent to x squared minus 2xy plus y squared. Therefore, this expression can be written or can be expanded as AD quantity squared minus 2 times AD times BC plus BC quantity squared. Now, one thing to notice is this middle expression, this negative 2 times AD times BC. This can be written as negative 2 times ABCD. Now, take note that we have positive 2 ABCD on this side. Therefore, we can immediately cancel out these two terms. Thus, we have AD squared plus BC quantity squared. Now, we know that AD quantity squared is just A squared times D squared, and BC quantity squared is just B squared times C squared. Now, let's rearrange some terms a little bit. Now, focus on these two terms. Notice that we have a common term of A squared, so we can factor out A squared like this. So we have A squared times C squared plus D squared. Now, on the last two terms, we can factor out B squared. This will give us B squared multiplied by D squared plus C squared. Now, also notice that C squared plus D squared is the same thing as D squared plus C squared. Now, we can factor out this common term. If we do that, we get C squared plus D squared multiplied by A squared plus B squared. Now, here comes the given equation comes into play. We know already that A squared plus B squared equals 1, and C squared plus D squared must be 2. Therefore, this expression C squared plus D squared is just 2, and this A squared plus B squared is just 1. Now, here comes the easy part. 2 times 1 is just 2. Therefore, the value of our expression is just 2. And our answer to this question is letter D. We have D equals 2. And as always, we're done.